Welcome to Off the Record, talking real estate with Joe and Michaela. If you're interested in the Portland, Oregon real estate market and want the unvarnished inside scoop, you've come to the right place. Thanks for giving us a listen. Okay, everyone, thanks for joining us. Happy to have you here today. We've got a special treat for you. We have a guest, a personal friend of mine, and a fantastic realtor, Julie Halter. Hi, Julie.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's good to be here.
Yeah, good to have you. Hi, Michaela.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Last week I had COVID. Today I got my tooth fixed, so it's only up from here.
Wow.
I'm feeling good.
Things are looking up for you. Yeah. Show them that smile.
That's perfect.
Yeah. Well, I think if you're listening on the pod, I'll just give you an outline of what you're missing if you're not watching on YouTube. You can definitely tell which one of us lives in Scottsdale, Arizona, and which of the other two do not.
Thank you.
I'm so jealous.
I know.
No,
you
my
were so
door's always
tan.
open. I mean, we're recording in my guest room / home office, so this is where you would be residing if you came out for a visit. Come on in. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, and it's been so hot here. This was my first full summer here in Scottsdale.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, it will also be my last. It is toasty, but it is a dry heat, like everyone says.
Yeah. I saw 115, 116 degrees.
Like that. Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm solar powered. I love the sun. I still manage to hike every day that I was in town, every day.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And you just like in life, you have to pivot. So instead of getting up at 4:30 in the morning to start hiking, I would get up at 3:30.
Oof.
And it was still around 90 degrees.
That is some dedication to hiking. I don't think I have.
Yeah, I love hiking.
3:30?
It changed my life. Well, I go to bed at like 7 o'clock. I know I hate to spoil it. Spoil alert. I'm super boring in the evening.
Yeah.
Well, I would be too if I was getting up at 3:30. It's 90 degrees at 3 in the morning.
This summer it was, yeah.
Crazy.
Or I should say, this summer it was, yes. Yeah, it's not a joke. But truthfully, I was in Seattle last weekend visiting my daughter, and it was in the 80s, which was a little unusual for this time of year, and it felt warmer because there's more humidity in the air, which not that much, but when you get used to this dry.
Yeah, it was 93 here in Portland on Monday.
Oh, I love that.
The end of September.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So.
Yeah. All those poor little kids going back to school with their new sweaters, sweating and
Oh.
Yeah.
So a little background on how we know Julie. Julie was a broker with Cascade House and Sotheby's here in Portland, Oregon, Lake Oswego office. Mm-hmm. And Julie and I have worked together on some different projects and some very successful ones, a couple of big old projects that were super fun. And we always had such a great time. And she has an incredible outlook on life and real estate. And we thought it'd be fun to bring her on. So thank you so much, Julie. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I'm honored to be here, really and truly.
Oh,
I'll never
sweet.
forget the help that you gave me. You always have given me. I'm going to get all teary.
Don't do it.
No,
Don't do it.
Can I share the story really quick with your listeners about really how we became not just colleagues and partners, but friends? You know, I consider you like family to me. I got a call. I thought it was a joke, and I was a brand new agent. And when you're new, you get a lot of calls that waste your time. This was not one of them. And to this day, I still don't know how he got my information. But he said, look, I've got this significant property and I've tried to sell it off and on for 10 years. I love my agent that I've worked with, but I think we just need to change the narrative. Would you be willing to come down and take a look at it? And I said, sure. So came down and did all my homework on the property prior to. It was nearly 200 acres with 2 homes. And it was the iconic property of the entire county. Yeah. And he did want to work with me. And I said, that's great. There's no way I can take this project on by myself. I'm going to contact one of my trusted colleagues who's an absolute expert, and we will do this together. So I called Joe and I just said, will you please do this with me? Because quite frankly, at that time, I didn't even know how to write a contract, which I was very clear about that with our client. Mm-hmm. It took us 2.5 years to sell this property. And I had every experience you could possibly think of in real estate in taking on this listing. And they were all good. Yeah. They were challenging, some of them, but they were all really great experiences. And I'm a big believer in collaboration, not competition. Mm-hmm. And Joe, you have that same mindset. I know you do too, Kayla. And it's a really beautiful thing. And I would rather share and, learn from others. And who cares what the paycheck is at the end? That's not why we're doing this.
Right.
But the experiences that we had together, I thought were so memorable.
Yeah.
And really
we saw a lot too. There were a lot of craziness on that project, but the property was so incredibly beautiful and our clients were wonderful, wonderful people. And I'm so happy that we got to do that together and that it ended up being a positive for everyone involved. That was really a cool deal. Yeah.
Didn't it set some kind of record?
It
that
did.
Sale?
Yeah. The year that we sold it, because Joe and I sold it twice.
Yeah, we had to sell it twice.
That's a whole nother podcast. The year that it sold and closed successfully and successfully funded, we set a record for largest residential sale on acreage for the entire state of Oregon.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's so impressive. How cool.
5.9 million.
Yeah, it was a big one.
That was a big one.
What it would sell for in, during the high times.
Oh, geez.
We have now since passed.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It could be back down to 5.9 right now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We could sell it for that easy all day long.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk a little bit about what took you down to the desert. Why Scottsdale?
Why not? I mean, there's so many reasons to love it here.
Yeah.
I came to Scottsdale for my very first trip. I come from a very small town in Oregon. I'm 3 generations deep in Oregon. Mm-hmm. All my family still lives there. And I came here in 1999 on a girls' trip in college, and I knew that this was home for me. And I just didn't know how to make it happen. Yeah. So essentially I've been working to make that happen for this long. And I really started putting a plan into place about 3 years ago. And I still have what I call my private book of business with my clients in Oregon. Mm-hmm. So I'm licensed in both states. So I did what most realtors never do. I did what we encourage our clients to do. I moved.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I moved here for the lifestyle. I love being in the sun, all the outdoor activities. There's quite a few sporting events. We have quite a few professional teams and semi-pro teams here, so that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
There's just a lot to do here, and I am really not a big fan of rain. I get it why people like it, but I just thought, I gave it a good 49 years.
Yeah,
that was enough.
Sweet. All right, so let's talk about Scottsdale a little bit. What's your favorite hike? I know you're a big hiker.
I am a big hiker. I hike Camelback every morning, and I hike the Echo Canyon side.
Ooh.
And how long of a hike is that? Where do you start?
So my criteria when I purchased a property here about 3.5 years ago was I told my agent, okay, I have to have high ceilings, lots of windows, and I can't be more than 10 minutes from my front door to the Echo Canyon trailhead. That's all I care about.
Wow.
Because all the real estate within 10 minutes of that is amazing.
Yeah.
So I bought this little project condo and I've been slowly, renovating, if you will. The hike itself is only 2.6 miles round trip. And that's only if you go from the base of Camelback on the front side on the Echo Canyon to the top of the highest hump, if you will. On Wednesdays, there's a group of us that call it Hump Day. So we'll hike up to the top and then down the Cholla side, which puts you down at the Phoenician, and then back up and over.
Wow.
So yeah, it's 1.3 up and then 1.3 down. It's the gain in elevation that's the killer.
Yeah. Of course.
You're climbing rocks, and it's a lot of fun. It's like being a kid again. Yeah, it really is.
So awesome.
You told us before we went on air here that you, in the summertime, you were getting up at 3:30 in the morning to do your hikes?
Sometimes 3, and believe it or not, I wasn't the first person there.
Good Lord, Julie.
With the heat, I know. You got to stay really hydrated here. And I mean,
I draw the line at 5 a.m. for my tea times, and that has got to be something pretty special. But 3 a.m. Okay.
I mean, it's a little extreme, but as I've said before, I don't think that I'm strict. I just think that I'm very consistent with my expectations of myself.
There you go. Nice.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah. You know, if it's important to you, you'll create the space and the time for it. And hiking is really important to me. It really it does more than just get me outside. You know, it's the physical benefits, it's the mental, the emotional. And I grew up going to church and I went to private school, but I've never felt closer to the earth and our creator than I have on that mountain versus sitting in a pew.
Yeah.
And sorry to offend someone, you don't have to use that, but
no.
for me, it feels
I
great.
get it. Yeah. That's cool that you can find that special piece.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's talk a little real estate. Why not? I mean, this is a real estate podcast.
Sure, let me get
Why
my
not? So Scottsdale, what kind of price point are we looking at there? What's our median? Do you know? I mean, last time I looked, it was like 650, 700, somewhere around there.
Yeah, and those are typically not where you would probably like to be, depending. I mean, it's such a varied market. That's what's so interesting about, relocating and recreating what I created in Oregon here. It forced me to grow in ways that I didn't really realize, right? So in Oregon, I had long-term relationships with people. People remembered the nice things that I had done for them years ago, and we had that built-in trust already. Here, people don't really know me, right?
Sure.
So unless it's a referral from another Sotheby's agent or something, so I'm a lot more data-driven now, which was a part of my practice that I did need to sharpen my skills on. So I'm grateful for that. In Paradise Valley, where I live, if you are going to buy a lot, let's say, tear down start at $2.5 million.
Yeah.
An acre is the smallest lot that you can have.
Really? An acre is the smallest that's available, huh?
Yeah, that's the neighborhood, one of the neighborhood criteria rules. So it's very similar to Denthorpe, for an example, as far as that type of property. The turnover in that neighborhood is very, very low, and it's in very high demand. So,
Got it.
Yeah, and Scottsdale itself, it just really depends on where you're at in Scottsdale. If you wanted to buy, let's say you were an investor and you wanted to purchase a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo as a shorter long-term rental with the anticipation of, okay, eventually I'll winter there, right? Anywhere between 550 is about your starting point, and you're going to put some sweat equity into that. Yeah.
Okay.
But in general, a 3-2 single family residence with a nice pool, you're starting around 900.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. The desert's a nice place to be, supply demand, if the demand is there, right?
It is.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
So, Paradise Valley, I've heard amazing things about. I've also seen some different, stuff real estate wise where those price points get through the roof. Yeah. Where would you, if someone was coming to Scottsdale, Phoenix area, and they were on a budget right now, but you still wanted to get them into a decent neighborhood, decent area, where would you suggest they go?
Well, tell me a little bit more about your client, Joe. What type of lifestyle do they want? Do they want to be near a golf course? Because we have over 327 golf courses here.
Only 327.
Over 327.
Over 327.
Yeah, and I'm not even a golfer yet. I haven't made the time to learn. So
why haven't I moved there yet?
That's what I was just going to say. Stop selling Joe on it. He's going to leave me.
Julie's got me sold. We're leaving Hillsboro, honey. Yeah, I'm just like a first-time home buyer, right? Someone that just wants to get into either a nice condo, nice townhouse, or if they can get into a 3-2 or even a 2-1 or 3-1.
Sure.
Where would you suggest, pointing them in what direction around the area? Right.
I personally love I always call the Scottsdale Road the main corridor. We're seeing more growth north of Kierland, which was the most north, neighborhood, if you will. There's 3 malls in one intersection. There's so much happening. Great restaurants, great shopping. There's just a lot happening. So from just slightly north of Kierland, clear down to, Old Town, which everybody knows Old Town.
Yeah.
And if you are within, 6 to 10 blocks east or west of Scottsdale, that to me is the Primo area. And you can have all sorts of different lifestyles, but you can get, I would say, if you wanted to stand alone, depending on neighborhood, prepare to spend at least $750, $800 to start. We can start there and then go up from there.
Got it.
Gosh. Okay. Good to know. I know there are a lot of transplant buyers, as we call them, or people relocating to Scottsdale. Are you still seeing a lot of those, or has it kind of chilled out after the post-COVID craziness?
No. In fact, post-COVID, I think the demand is just as high.
Wow.
And what's interesting is, of the top 3 inbound cities, it's very similar to Portland in that way. So Portland's top 3 inbound cities are Seattle, Los Angeles, and I'm looking at my cheat sheet, San Francisco, of course. And those are the top 3 in Portland. So the top 3 here, 2 out of the 3 are the same. So here is Los Angeles, Seattle, and Dallas, Texas.
Huh. Okay.
Really? I would never have thought Dallas. That's cool.
Yeah. And what's nice about Dallas buyers is that they're already used to the heat, and quite frankly, they enjoy the fact that it's not as humid. So that's the change for them. Yeah. Yeah.
They don't mind the heat, but it's not quite as muggy. Well, okay.
That's true.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Nice. So, investors, do you find a lot of investors in the marketplace?
I do. My first 3 clients here are all real estate investors.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Now, are they looking to flip them, or buy and hold? Are they looking at short-term rental?
Correct. Short-term rental, long-term lease rentals, buy and holds, absolutely.
Okay.
And, statistically, I've been reading up on this, with the exception of the tough years, 06, 07, 08. In the last 50 years, if you invested in real estate here in the Phoenix metro, Scottsdale area, you would come out with a profit.
Right.
Yeah. So when
Probably
people
a
ask
pretty
me,
big profit.
yeah. So when people ask me, what would you recommend for an investor here in the Scottsdale market? My answer is always buy now.
Nice.
Yeah, buy now.
That's good advice. There's so many short-term rental opportunities there. Is that getting oversaturated yet, or are there still that many people coming to visit?
A little bit, and here's why. We had some growing pains with the short-term rental market in the Phoenix metro area, and so they've implemented some laws to protect not only homeowners but also the tenants that come in, and to protect the integrity of the neighborhoods, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that has cooled it off a bit. However, just like Nashville, for example, we just had our G&E in Nashville. I did not know this about Nashville. It is the #1 bachelorette destination city in the South. Did you know that?
True. Yes,
There's
I can
a lot
attest
of
to that. It
girls
is.
there all the time in large flocks.
Sure,
It's
sure.
so cute. It's also that here. I mean, I don't think we're the capital, but it's a huge market for girls trips, guys golf trips. We've got the big TPC, the Waste Management golf tournament that's here. For example, the Barrett Jackson car auction that goes over the course of, I think, 2 weeks. I went to that for my first time this year. So there's a lot here that draws people here. And so short-term rental, absolutely. But even the long-term, and semi-short, right? So, 3 months to 12 months.
Is it hard? Is it getting harder getting licensing there? Because I know here in Portland, some things are starting to change, but like out at the Oregon coast, boy, it is really, really tough to get a short-term rental license for a property out there. They're just not giving them out anymore, right? They're trying to solve their problem by saying we're not going to allow it anymore.
At all?
They have certain zones now in most of the cities, but no. I mean, it's just like if you have it, it's gold, but it doesn't transfer. And if you sell the property, whoever's buying it, good luck trying to get a license.
Right. And that does create some havoc in the market for that.
Yeah, it does.
I just had this conversation earlier today with a client who would like to invest. She's got Airbnbs in other states and would like to, expand her portfolio here. There's a risk involved if you are going to invest a property with that intention. So I think it's really important for buyers to do their due diligence and very thoroughly.
Yeah. Yeah. You really got to find out the ins and outs of how a certain community handles that, or a certain city or county,
right.
is going to work with you on that.
Right.
Nice.
And, as people who are homeowners as well, I know that I don't want my neighborhood to be filled with short-term renters. I mean, Airbnbs and VRBOs and that, because it does change the feeling of a neighborhood if it's overrun with that. So, there's two sides to it. I get it. I think that we have everyone's best interest in mind with that.
Yeah. Finding that balance is critical.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we are so thankful and happy that you were able to join us. It's always great visiting with you. We ask one last question of all of our guests, and we're getting a little list running for all the different areas of people that we've interviewed.
Am I going to get right-zigged?
No, not at all. In fact, we want to know your favorite restaurant in Scottsdale.
Okay. Depends on the occasion. I have my new favorite is called Thea's. It's a tapas restaurant, and it's in the Global Ambassador Hotel, which the hotel has a really big accolade that they just earned. They got a Michelin rating.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is sort of like getting a Michelin star for your restaurant, but it's for the hotel as a whole, and it is absolutely beautiful. I love Thea's. It's tapas, it's great drinks, really wonderful staff, and when you sit outside, they have the misters, so you stay comfortable. And it has this beautiful, unobstructed sunset view of Camelback.
Oh my gosh.
It's a must.
That's so cool.
Sounds amazing.
That is so cool. Well, you are living the life, Miss Julie. I have to say, I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
I've never seen you happier, and I'm so happy for your success. And I know things are just going to keep on rolling for you. Michaela, did you have anything else for Julie?
I don't, but please get some sun for me today because I need it.
Like I said, you can come down anytime. I will say this.
I will take you up on that.
You're never too old to learn lessons, right? Here you think, oh, sure, I'll book that, 1:00 virtual tour for an investor client in August. I fried my phone. It literally fried out.
Really?
Yeah, I went through 2 phones this summer. And then I mistakenly thought, I'll just have this best little schedule. I'll get up early and hike, and then I'll, be at my desk, and then I can polish up the afternoon poolside and speak with my clients on the phone. No, you can't. The phone gets too hot. Even if
I didn't know that was a problem.
I learned that it is. Even if you sandwich your phone between 2 ice packs, it overheats. So
Goodness.
Well, there's give and take to every area, right? We know the give and take to Portland, and
I know
certainly
how to
there's.
manage rain.
Yep.
Yeah.
And but maybe January, February down in Phoenix might not be. We might have to do a Live Portland field trip where we go down as a team and just see what's going on in Scottsdale with Julie, right?
You should investigate that. Absolutely. I'd be
I
more
would
than
love
happy.
Amazing.
All right, Julie, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for giving us the lowdown on Scottsdale and the Phoenix area. And we look forward to visiting again soon.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Michaela.
Thanks, Julie.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for joining us today. If you're interested in finding out more about Joe, myself, or the Live Portland team, you can go to liveportland.com. Thanks for giving us a listen, and see you next time on the Off the Record podcast.